I've got a submission here from elshopper or perhaps elshopper. Well, it doesn't matter. um, and you've got a very interesting situation, and I enjoyed doing this analysis. And I love analyses where I start out kind of baffled, and then I find something that is a clever solution, and this is one of them. So, looking forward to this one. You've got a ripple in your gyro and your D on the PID, but a small quibble. You got to tell me what axis it is, right? Or is it all the axes? I mean, you got to let me know. I figured it out, but it would be helpful as you guys go forward. If you've got a problem, the best thing to do is to give me a timestamp and which axis it is. You know, what should I be looking at? But I got it. I figured it out. So we take a look at the gyro, and here are the 3 gyro traces. And it took me a while, but I found what you were talking about. You're talking about this. Right here, right here, right here. And if we look, they are, as you say, about 0.2 seconds apart, 18.1, 18.3, 18.5. And it's just happening. I mean, it's obscured, I think, a little bit when you're doing more extreme moves. But it's happening here, and here, and here, and here. It's constant. Okay. So, the next thing, I mean, I don't know what that would be. I agree that it's probably not just generic noise vibration. In fact, if we zoom out here, we can see that your lines are quite thin. They're not the thinnest ever, but they're certainly thin enough that I wouldn't expect that to be causing a problem. Okay, so then the next place I looked was at your roll PIDs. And here's what I found. If we zoom back in here. Now you're right, by the way. D is very, very noisy. D is too high, in my opinion. But if it flies good, it doesn't matter. But it's not flying good. You get these weird twitches. And whoop, smoking gun, smoking gun. Here it is, smoking gun. Okay. So here are these twitches that you're talking about. And the P and the D are going with them. So then we have a chicken and the egg situation. So one possibility is that something mechanical is happening at intervals of about 0.2 seconds, and it is causing the copter to twitch, or maybe causing the board, the flight control board to twitch. It's causing a reading in the gyro that then the PID loop is responding to. In which case the PID loop is doing the right thing, and the answer is to figure out mechanically what is causing this. But the other scenario that's possible is that you have some kind of noise-based situation where basically the D term is amplifying noise, and there is some frequency component of the noise that makes the D term flip out a little bit every 0.2 seconds. And given that we know that your D gain is too high, because we can look here, you're at like 1200 on the throttle, and the D term is going bonkers, right? The D term is excessive. The D gain is excessive. Here it's just constant. Yeah. So here's what I think. Reduce your D gain and see if this twitch goes away. Because here's the thing, if the D gain can get you into kind of a cascading scenario where there's noise in the gyro, and then the D term gets to a point where it amplifies the noise, and there's sort of a feedback loop that then makes the whole sort of house of cards just fall over, right? So if you reduce the D gain and this goes away, then it's likely that the D term was amplifying some noise component, and that was what was causing the problem. But if you reduce the D gain, and you can still see the twitches in the gyro, but now the PID loop is not freaking out, then you know it's something mechanical, right? That is getting into the gyro. It's not that the PID loop is amplifying some frequency component of your copter's noise, your vibration, and it's resulting in this. Does that make sense? If you reduce the D gain and you can still see the twitches in the gyro, maybe they'll be smaller, but they'll still be there. But now the D term is not flipping out anymore, right? But the noise is still happening. Then you know it's not that the D term was not causing the problem. There's something mechanical you need to run down. But if you reduce the D gain and the whole thing settles down and goes away, then I think my conclusion would be that excess D gain was causing the issue. I'm trying to think of what mechanical could cause something with this frequency. 0.2 seconds, that's 5 times a second. I don't know if that was 0.2 seconds. I'm just sort of trying to think about how fast that would be. I would certainly look for anything mechanical that might be causing this issue, such as your flight control board not being secure, like a bolt having come off. Maybe it's rattling at this frequency. And if you have problems with sharp stops on flips and rolls, then I would, as I've said in others, I would try to tune it with the P gain. I would reduce D and try to get my P as sharp as possible. Now you've got a lot more mass than some of the copters that I've dealt with before, so your ability to tune exclusively with P gain may be somewhat limited. But yeah, again, D seems really high. And we've got these twitches again, also on pitch. What about yaw? Or do any of the axes, I'm going to bet that you don't have high D gain on yaw. You don't. Do we see these twitches on yaw as well? I mean, for all we know, they could be getting in from the pitch and the rolls, so it's impossible to really judge. Not so much. Yeah, that's my recommendation. My recommendation is to take the D gain back down again, take it way down to a non-existent point, and see if the problem goes away. Because I think your challenge right now is to determine whether this is a mechanical problem that is creating vibration that the PID loop is then responding to, or whether this is a tuning problem that is amplifying a normal thing, a normal noise. You don't have an excessive amount of noise, but if you turn the D gain up high enough, eventually you will amplify the noise that's there. And it does not look like we have no, we don't have a command line dump, so I don't know what your gains actually are to comment on whether they're high or low. So there you go. I think with Betaflight 253, you should be able to get reasonably sharp response on your flips and rolls without having to turn your D gains up to a point where they're as high as they are. If we just look at your P term on roll, well, the problem is D is high enough that it's hard to judge how active it is and what it's doing. Yeah, there's those twitches, all right. Anyway, that's what I have to say, and I hope it's helpful, and happy flying.